Hi guys, I'm Angelique van Zyl. We're going to look at PED. So PED, Price Elasticity of Demand. So you might ask, why is it important to look at PED at all? Why do businesses use it? Do they use it? The answer is it is very important when businesses are deciding whether or not to adjust their prices. So in other words, to increase or decrease the prices, because it will affect their revenues in terms of the price adjustment. So going to price elasticity of demand, it is literally how sensitive is my quantity demanded, so how much people are demanding of that product in relation or in response to a change in the price. So for example, fuel prices in many countries that rely on private motor transport, these countries, their demand is relatively inelastic in nature, meaning insensitive to a price change. So it doesn't matter how much they put up the petrol price or the diesel price, you're still going to demand X amount of fuel every month. So we say that the demand for fuel is relatively inelastic or insensitive in terms of that change in the price. Let's look at the definition for price elasticity of demand. It is a numerical measure of the responsiveness of demand for one product following a change in the price of that product alone. Or more simplistically put, it is how sensitive quantity demanded is to a change in the product price. So when I'm also looking at demand that's inelastic or elastic in nature, let's look at the inelastic first. It would be something like fuel, like I've mentioned before. So if there's a small or a large change in the price, it really wouldn't affect the quantity demanded that much because we need it on a regular basis and there really aren't any close substitutes to that product yet. Then if I'm looking at something that's more elastic in nature, I can look at it from a point of view that even if there's a small change in the price, it will result in a relatively large change in the quantity demanded as is stated here. So if there's a special on food items and you want to stock up, and maybe then you'll buy a lot more than you were planning to because it's a bargain. Again, I just want to focus your attention to something that I mentioned when I dealt with demand and why demand is downward sloping. So PED relates to demand. So when I'm looking at the relationship between price and quantity demanded, it is normally said that it has a negative or inverse relationship. So in other words, if the price goes up, the quantity demanded goes down, because consumers, when they are looking at shopping around, if the price goes down, for example, then the quantity demanded will go up because they're looking for good value for money. So that is how it works. Now I want to look at my formula for PED. So my formula for PED is the percentage change in the quantity demanded of a product divided by the percentage change in the price of that product. I can simplify the formula slightly, so we can state it as I am doing now. So it's the percentage change, that's delta, the triangle, in quantity demanded, divided by the percentage change and the price. And as I've mentioned, again, going with the definition for PED, it is basically how sensitive is this quantity demanded top part in response to a change in the price. So it's basically how is this price change affecting that quantity demanded. So that is my formula for it. But then when we are doing calculations on PED, it's easier to kind of break the formula down into different parts. So I'll call this my part 3 or my step 3, and then I can call this part 1 or step 1 and this part 2 or step 2. So when I'm dealing with calculations, it is important that I am actually following the formulas. I mean, the more you are doing this, say maybe you're just starting out, maybe you are on IG level, or you are just a junior or in high school, and you're just starting with economics, and your teacher actually has showed you PED, and you're like, oh, I don't know what's happening, and it's taking me so long to calculate it. The more you do it, the faster you will get at it. But when I normally tell my students as well, when you're starting out, just make sure you're following the steps and you don't skip a step because you're in a rush or you think you know the answer. Follow the steps. So when I'm looking at my formula, I just want to focus your attention on part 1. So part 1 says the change in the quantity demanded. It's the change in the quantity divided by the original quantity times 100, because I'm working out a percentage there. And the same goes for my change in my price. Part 2, it's the change in the price divided by the original price times 100. But when you are actually working out change for anything, you are always going to work out the change or the difference divided by the original amount or whatever they have given you times 100. So maybe you want to work out change in your market growth. So it can work for anything. That's the nice thing of using math in economics, because economics needs math. So before I go into my example that I want to do with you guys, I just want you to already keep in mind that this is what we're going to look for. So if the value that we are getting from the calculation is greater or equal to 1, we say that it's elastic. If it's smaller than 1, it's inelastic. So say a value like 0.2 would be inelastic because it's smaller than 1. Let's look at an example together. So we have two products, product A and product B. They are both priced at $100, and the demand for them is 1,000 units per month, and the price now increases to $105. Demand for A falls from 1,000 to 990, and the demand for B falls from 1,000 to 900. So let's do product A. So for product A, if I do step or my part 2, which is the percentage change in the quantity demanded, I can see that my quantity demanded has gone from 1,000 to 990. So the difference between 1,000 and 990 is 10. And the original quantity was 1,000. And then I times it by 100, and that should give me 1%. And then percentage change in the price, step 2 or part 2. I have my price going from 100 to 105. So the difference between 105 and 100 is 5. And the original price was 100 times 100, and then I get 5%. Great stuff. Now, going back to the original formula or the main formula, step number 3 or part 3, I have to take percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in the price. So I'm going to take PED is 1% divided by 5. And that should give me 0.2. Now I just want you to focus on something that's pretty important when I'm determining whether the value is greater or smaller than 1. So with my quantity demanded, it actually decreased. It went down. So it actually has a minus in front of it. And my price, you can see it went from 100 to 105, which is an increase. And remember that relationship between price and quantity demanded on your demand curve. So we say it has a negative relationship. So as price in this case goes up, quantity demanded will go down. So if I look at this again, I'm going to look at minus 1 divided by plus 5. So a minus divided by a plus gives me a minus. Okay, so 0.2 normally, or just 0.2 without the minus, tells me it's smaller than 1. So it's relatively inelastic. But say, what if this value was 3? 3, you're going to tell me 3 is greater than 1? Yes. But if there's a minus in front of it, which PED will always have a minus sign in front of it because of that relationship between price and quantity demanded. So we're going to ignore the sign in front of the value when we are determining is it greater or smaller than 1. Do not fall for the trick when you are looking at the sign and not ignoring it. You should be ignoring it when you are determining is it greater or smaller than 1. The only reason why that minus is there is to tell me that relationship between price and quantity demanded. Like I said, remember, I'm going to say it once more. It tells me that relationship between price and quantity demanded, which is a negative one. Great, so I just wanted to show you this one. So this is obviously a nicer layout of what I just did roughly on the screen for you. So you can just have this to see as well. So I just set it out like that. Then I just want you to go and work out product B and what the result would be for product B. So I already did this for you, so you can double check yourself and from my working out, and I hope you are coming right with this and you will understand PED really soon. But like I said, there's nothing better than practice. Practice more and more of these PED questions so you can do it faster and you don't have to get stuck on something. And yeah, math. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and you liked this video. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys again. Bye.